He was our battalion commander when I got back from Fort Knox, and I got Fishbein and I don't. You said Batiste. It wasn't Batiste. It was a. Wasn't there a Zimmer or something like that? Who from Philadelphia?
Oh, Messimer.
Celery Messimer was the guy, and well, he was the guy that they give me for a tank driver when I first come back. And Fishbein, they wanted to make a driver out of him or give him some experience, so they said, when you go out there on the firing range when it's daylight, well, let him drive the tank back and use gunnery gas for driving experience. Gained 2 things with it. And that day we come in and I don't remember, C Company I think it was, which was I Company at that time, and they were using our tank. Nobody had enough tanks to fill up the whole company, so they'd loan them when they'd go out. So all the people got to do their thing, and they borrowed my tank, and they was shooting 22 ammunition through a 30 caliber adapter in a 75 millimeter gun on a 1,000-inch range. And that's right, and it worked. But those adapters, they'd come out of there and fall on the floor, and they didn't get them all picked up. One of them rolled out of the turret compartment down into the driver's compartment, and on the way in, when we got to the gate, Messimer got out and was leading the tank in, which was SOP. That's the way it had to be. And he come up, and when we come up to the tank shed, well, he had to make a U-turn, and the only way you could turn in that loose sand was to pour the gas on. I mean, you had to rev her up good, or you'd throw a track. So he comes in, you know, and he hits the gas pedal on there was like a brake pedal on a car, and put that down, and boy, it went around. When he let up, it didn't let up. It just kept going. And he didn't get turned. All he done was started his turn. And if this was a tank shed, and he would come in this way, and he went through this corner and went right through here and out that corner and turned and went across. and
I don't get it. The adapter, did that jam?
This little adapter fell down, and when he pushed the throttle down, it rolled in there and locked it, like you had a brake on it, you know. And the engines we had in them was what they called a multi-bank Chrysler engine. Had 5 Dodge engines on them, so you had 30 cylinders, and it was going damn near wide open, and there wasn't no stopping it. And he went through that shed, and the first thing he hit was a tank that was sitting over on this corner. That turned it a little bit, and he hit a mulberry tree out here. And well, that mulberry tree will stop us there, you know. And he just hooked the side of it, and he broke a chunk out of there that 2 men couldn't have picked up, and just kept right on going, right into the next tank shed. And there was 2 tanks sitting in there, and he pushed them through and hit the 3rd tank up in front. Well, when he got that far, well, that was too much of a load for it to push anymore, so it just started right up the back end, was going to crawl right over the top. And it was on its way. And that got to be too much for the strain on the damn sprocket, and it just broke the, how many bolts was in there? 16?
16, yeah.
16 steel bolts, 3/8-inch steel bolts, and it just sheared them off. And that released the power, and it just backed down out of there, and the engine never did stop. It was still running. And Doherty was the maintenance officer there. Yep. And him and Scribner and I don't know who all was up in the maintenance end there, in the other end of the tank shed. But they said it shook up there. It wasn't long till they was down to see what the uproar was. And it was somewhere close to $250,000 that was destroyed in there, over $200,000 worth of spare parts that was damaged in it. There was 50 caliber machine guns. The whole shed there was full of spare parts for all the rest of the tanks in the company, and they had 50 caliber machine guns to use for anti-aircraft guns on the turret. And there was everything, periscopes and gun sights and everything that was you didn't leave most of that stuff on the tank. It was all stored in there. There was a 50-gallon drum of oil in there that he went over the top of, and it just split that drum, and oil squirted a good 20-30 feet just and that's how I and Colonel McBride got acquainted. It was on Saturday just before noon when it happened, and you never would have guessed that there was that much brass left in that camp on Saturday at noon. There was all the damn stars and eagles.
And what time was this?
It was in the spring in 43, wasn't it?
43.
43, wasn't it?
No, it would have been...
44?
No, we came
43 it had to be.
We came in 41. It would have been in the...
No, you didn't come in until in the fall in 42. Pearl Harbor was in December in 41.
Yeah.
And we come down there in July in 42.
Yeah.
And it was the next spring, so 43. It would have been in April in 43.
43.
And this was in Camp Fort
Benning.
Fort Benning, okay.
I'd never met Colonel McBride before that, but we became well acquainted. You can't imagine the damn paperwork that it took to survey and all that damn stuff. And
was he upset?
No, it wasn't. You know, all he was inquired about, did I do what I was supposed to? Did I have a man out in front? And absolutely. I had got him out when we come in the gate, just like the book said, and he was in front of it all the way up there. And him and I become great friends. I mean, I was a staff sergeant and he was a leaf colonel, but we was great friends. Then I don't remember, was one of the road marches that we went on, and everybody got through a damn bog area but me, and Powell was behind me, and we didn't throw the track. We had a track on the way to being thrown. It was just ready to go. And we stopped and got it cleaned out, and we saved it. We didn't have to bust the track or anything, but we had a job to do. And Powell was the only tank behind me. And we was out there chopping brush, and making a damn corduroy to get on out of there. And pretty soon here a Jeep come up. It was McBride, and wasn't it Lem that was a radio... a communications officer.
Fred Lamb?
He was a warrant officer at that time.
Okay, yeah.
And he was a battalion communications officer. And he was in the Jeep with McBride. And then there was a driver. And when they come up, why, I was standing there, I don't remember what kind of a tool I had, but I was doing something, and old McBride, he turned around and told his driver to get the Jeeps all had what they call pioneer tools, is a shovel and an axe or something on it, you know, and told them, get to work, get out there, help these men, you know, we got to get through here. Pretty soon he turned around and he told Lem, he says, if I think if Sergeant Deal can work like that, you can do just as well, and get a goddamn tool and go to work. And he did. And in a few minutes, I hear McBride come back, and he says, Sergeant, do you like raspberries or blackberries or whatever it was? And I said, sure. He said, well, hold your hand. And so I stick my hand out. He says, you can't take these in one hand. And I just dropped my tool, you know. Hell, he's the commander. I stick them out, and he drops me a bunch of damn berries, whatever they were. And I'm standing there eating berries, and McBride's using my tool. And these guys standing looking, what in the hell has he got on him? He's standing there, McBride's out picking him berries, and so we got through, and he said, Deal, do you want a drink? And I said, we got plenty of water, sir. He said, I didn't ask you if you had water. I said, do you want a drink? I said, yes, sir, I'll take a drink. And he handed me his canteen. And I found out why he was following. He didn't have water in it. He'd been out to a corn squeezing somewhere. And I take and turn that up, and whoo! God damn it. It was hot, and boy, it just took your breath away. And he laughed. He thought that was funnier than hell.